Why, hi there. My name is Ron Chuck, and today we're doing a doubleheader. We're going to honor Frank Robinson over the next hour or two and play two games in his honor. The first one we're going to do is from Frank Robinson, the manager. Frank was the first African-American manager in Major League Baseball history. We will see two maybe of his most iconic teams. The 1975 Cleveland Indians, who was the first team he managed. In fact, he was a player manager. He came in his first game, I believe. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. And he hit a winning pinch hit home run. And while the other suggestion for a manager for Frank was the 82 Giants, I went a different way. We're going to go with the 2005 Washington Nationals, who Robinson turned in from a vagabond performance their last years in Montreal into a team that actually contended halfway through the 2005 season. They finished 81-81, and I think really was Robinson's finest managerial work. And so you're going to see Livan Hernandez and Fritz Peterson go at it at RFK Stadium in a moment. But I think if you're going to honor someone who meant so much to so many different cities, I mean, we're going to play the 61 Reds and the 66 Orioles in the second game of this doubleheader. He meant so much to Cincinnati. He owned Baltimore and Washington, or certainly Baltimore back in the late 60s, and they won their first World Series with him in 1966. But, you know, as far as Robinson's reach off the field, you've never heard a bad story about Frank Robinson. Actually, I read one today that I won't repeat. But he was a competitor. He was a tough competitor. He wanted to win. He was one of the first players to win MVPs in both leagues. Honored, respected, loved, as a player, as a manager, as a person. We salute Frank Robinson on a wonderful life. He passed away Thursday at the age of 83, and what better way to honor him than to play a couple in his honor. And as I get the chat up on the screen, good morning. We're going to get to one today, so glad you joined us this morning for a game. Because we're going to be about 2 hours, I would think. And yeah, so it's the 75 Cleveland Indians against the 2005 Washington Nationals. Both teams run by Frank Robinson. Both teams were surprisingly around 500. And for Washington, I think it meant a lot to have baseball back in the city. I know from when I covered the team a couple years ago, they were immensely proud of Frank Robinson and what he meant. And this team, I think is special. Didn't make the playoffs. They would go on to struggle until Mike Rizzo came in 2009 to run the club. And then you know what their playoff things have been over the years. But one more game in RFK. And so Livan Hernandez is on the mound, and look, we're not playing with the DH, so Fritz Peterson's going to bat. Livan Hernandez on the mound. He was the opening day starter in Arizona when the Nationals came to life in 2005. 15-10 on the real year, 3.98 ERA, 246 in the third innings, 268 hits. He allowed 25 home runs. He walked 84 and struck out 147, and is still on the payroll of one Eric Gregg. And here's the lineup that Hernandez will face. Rick Manning will be in right field. Dwayne Kuiper will bat second and play second. The computers pick these lineups. Boot Powell, the first baseman, will bat third. Oscar Gamble will play left and hit fourth. Buddy Bell, the third baseman, will bat fifth. George Hendrick, the center fielder, will bat sixth. Alan Ashby, the catcher, will bat seventh. Frank Duffy, the shortstop, will hit eighth. And Fritz Peterson, the pitcher, will bat ninth. It is Church in left for Washington. He's a 6 and a 3. Brad Wilkerson is in center, 7 and 6. Jose Guillen is a 7 and 10 in right. Vinny Castilla is a 7 at third. Christian Guzman, I believe, a 5 at short. Jamie Carroll is 7 and second. Nick Johnson, the eternally injured one, is an 8 at first. And Brian Schneider is a 9 and 8 behind the plate. And so, here we go. No DH, as I said. You want weather? I'm playing this on July 4th, and it's 95 degrees in the nation's capital. Wind blowing in from left center at 11. And if you're more familiar with RFK as a football place, I believe this would be blowing in on the left side towards the left end zone. So Rick Manning's at the plate, 285, 3 homers and 35 RBI in 75. Livan Hernandez says he's ready. Frank Robinson's pick face is mowed in center field right by Wilkerson, and we're ready to go. And the first pitch is a line drive left center field for a base hit. Guzman should have had it. He did not, and so Manning starts this one with a single. And that brings up Dwayne Kuiper. Of course, did not hit a home run. 292, no homers, and 25 RBI. Hernandez is delivering. It's bunted. Snyder grabs it foul. And so the count goes to 0-2, and Robbie, managing against Robbie, is being aggressive. Hernandez delivers, and there's another base hit, this time into right center field. Manning will hold at second. Kuiper will hold at first, and that brings up Boog Powell, who had 27 home runs in 1975, hit 297, and drove in 86. Cleveland was right around 500. Both these teams are pretty equal. The Nationals, I believe the Braves won the division in 2005. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. And of course, the Red Sox won the American League East in 1975. Hernandez delivers, and Powell looks at strike 3 on an 0-2 pitch. How you doing, Mike? Oh, let's be gentle today. Yeah, Dwayne Kuiper is such a good announcer for the Giants. And hope you're all doing well. Oscar Gamble in his afro, 261, 15 homers and 45 RBI. 1 out, runners on first and second. Either way, Frank Robinson can't lose this game. Well, he will, but he'll also win it. Hernandez pitches, striking for strike 3. A fastball in there below the belt. And Hernandez has 2 strikeouts. Here is Buddy Bell. Buddy at 271, 10 homers and 59 RBI. Okay, I wondered if that was the case. Michael Dobreski reminds me that this was the last year of the Braves' divisional streak in 2005. They won 14 straight divisional titles. Did it over 2 different divisions. Pitch to Bell. Got him! He takes down the side. Check the swing on the inside corner. Indians put 2 on, but can't do anything with it. After half an inning, Cleveland nothing. Here comes Washington. And so Fritz Peterson, talking about swapping wives, is on the hill for the Indians. A 3.94 ERA, 14-8 on the season, 146 in the 3rd innings, 154 hits, 15 home runs. He walked 40 and only struck out 47. So much pitch to contact. Gaylord Perry's on this team for Cleveland too. The lineup for the Washington Nationals. Yep, we'll get to that, Robbie. So Brad Wilkerson will lead off and play center. Jamie Carroll will bat second. Nick Johnson will bat third for Washington. Church cleans up and left. Vinny Castilla will bat fifth. Ozzie Guillen will hit fifth. Not Ozzie. Jose. Brian Schneider, the catcher, will hit seventh. Christian Guzman will bat eighth. And Livan Hernandez will pitch and bat ninth. And so Fritz Peterson did not really bat in 1975, but I wasn't going to change those settings. So it's Oscar Gamble. He's a 4-6 to left, speaking of the defense around Fritz Peterson. And a couple of attorneys in left center and right center. George Hendrick is a 7-7 in center, and Rick Manning is a 7-5 in right. Buddy Bell at 8 at third. Frank Duffy at 7 at short. Dwayne Kuiper is 6 at second. Boog Powell is 6 at first. That's actually a pretty good defensive infield for Cleveland. And Ashby Allen is a 5 and a 4. Allen, by the way, has done some broadcast work for the Astros, too. So Brad Wilkerson, as I got to sneeze. Excuse me. 248, bless me. One more? No. 11 home runs and 57 RBI. Does not hit. Hits lefties at 296 clip. And Peterson's ready. Ground ball foul, third base side. That's played here from 05 to 08, 05 to 07. They built their beautiful park where they are now on the river, on the Anacostia. I believe it was under construction when when they moved down from Montreal. Pitch to Wilkerson. It's a fly ball to right. Manning comes in, 1 out. So Jamie Carroll at 251, no home runs and 22 RBI. Peterson delivers, and there's a base hit up the middle, right side. And Carroll gets the hit. Not a threat to steal. And here's Nick Johnson. Nick, 289, 15 home runs, 74 RBI. You see him here with the Orioles. Was the Yankees' first baseman of the future, but injuries kind of said otherwise, and he ended up in Montreal and was part of this inaugural Nationals team. Peterson's pitch, fly ball to shallow right. Manning comes in, 2 out. Ryan Church, the batter. Ryan at 287, 9 homers and 42 RBI. Peterson delivers, and there's a liner that's going to get down the line and right. Howell should have had it. Carroll will round third. They're going to run on Manning, and the throw just goes in the infield. So the Nationals go up 1-0. Yeah, Greg Bird is now Nick Johnson 2.0, and a lot of people miss the X-Gays. How many people would have remembered that Vinny Castilla was an original Nat? 253, 12 homers, and 66 RBI. Church on second. 1-0 Washington. Here's the pitch. Castilla up the middle. Base hit. Church scores, and it's 2-0 Washington. On the single by Castilla. And now bring up Jose Guillen. 283, 24 homers, and 76 RBI. Here's the pitch. Guillen. Fly ball to shallow left field. Gambles there. And that retires the side. Washington 2 runs on 3 hits and no errors. And after 1, it's Washington 2, Cleveland nothing. 1, 2, 3, not for me for Castilla. I forgot he was on the Braves. I just remember him with being a very good third baseman with the Rockies. So George Hendrick, 258, 24 homers, 86 RBI. Batting here for Cleveland. I wonder if the computer will actually pinch hit Robinson in this one. The nightcap, by the way, immediately following this will be the 66 O's and the 61 Reds from Crossley Field. Hernandez delivers, and Hendricks sends this one in the left, Church into foul territory, and it's a 2-strike count. The reason why I went with Washington for this is because the stadium was already done. It was easy. 0-2 count to Hendrick. Hernandez delivers, and there's a little fly ball on the left. Church comes in, and he makes the catch for the first out. Alan Ashby, who caught for a number of teams at 224, 5 homers and 32 RBI. Hernandez deals, ground ball up the middle. Carroll by the bag at second, over to Johnson, and they got him. So 2 out. Frank Duffy, nice glasses there, 243. And if you're wondering what the Indians' uniforms look like, that's what they look like. 243 and a homer and 47 RBI. Hernandez pitch, got him. He swung on and missed a 1-2 pitch. And so that retires the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. After an inning and a half, it's Washington 2, Cleveland nothing. Is that what it was in the expansion draft? Okay, well that would make sense, and that would be the 93 expansion draft. Johnny Mac, Delaware, how are ya? Chris did a tribute game. He did 61 and 66 last night. That's on his channel, and that's what we'll do after this. Sorry, but our good friend was not able to get to opening day for Strat. So when do those cards come in? It'll be Peterson batting. No, I'm sorry, Schneider, Guzman, and Hernandez. And so Schneider at 268, 10 homers and 44 RBI. Peterson's pitch, ground ball to Kuiper. over to Powell, and that starts the inning off to the what? Hope by the end of next week. When the Major League Baseball bought the Expos from Jeffrey Loria, he pretty much ran that team in the ground. It was to Bud Selig's infinite wisdom, and I know a lot of you aren't huge Selig fans. I think Selig gets a deserved bad rap on some things, and he did a lot that actually was right for the game, and one of them, the boot. I'll get to that in the second try. One of them was bringing in Frank Robinson to run this ragtag team. They certainly did not have a high payroll. Major League Baseball tried to contract the Expos back in 2001 and 2002. And so the Expos were the little orphan Annies of professional sports. But it was Frank Robinson who they brought in to put this ragtag bunch together. And their first year in Washington, when they finally felt some love, finished at 500. They didn't do that the rest of the time that Robinson was there as a manager. But there was an instant connection with Robinson because of his time in Baltimore. And of course, for most of his time in Baltimore, the Senators were there. So Robinson was quite familiar to baseball fans in D.C. Guzman at 219, 4 homers and 31 RBI. Peterson's pitch, and there's a looper right back to Fritz, over to Powell for the out. And so now I'll make the joke as Livan Hernandez comes up. Those all red uniforms Cleveland had Luke Powell and wondered like he would look like a Bloody Mary, and that's absolutely true. So Livan Hernandez did actually hit 805, was a good hitter, 244, 2 homers and 7 RBI. 2 out, here's the pitch. Little liner to Buddy Bell, and that retires the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 2, it's Washington 2, Cleveland nothing. Frank Robinson was not, to answer Michael's thing about why the Reds traded him, was not a shrinking violet as a player or a person. And I'm just not sure how well that actually played with Reds ownership. They got Malpapis out of the deal, but Robinson was so incensed that all he did this first year, we'll talk about this in Game 2, was win the Triple Crown. Peterson, of course, did not bat because the DH was in effect for Cleveland, but prior to 73 he hit, and he puts this one in the left field. Back goes Church in the corner, and he makes the catch for the out. 1 out for Rick Manning. So for the first 9, Livan Hernandez, 2 in the 3rd innings, 2 hits. He struck out 4 and has not allowed a run. Manning had 1 of those singles. Rick is 1 for 1. And there's another base hit in the right center, and so Manning will hold with a 1-out single for Dwayne Kuiper. 1 for 1. Hernandez's pitch up the middle. Carroll's only throw is to first, and Kuiper is retired. Manning goes to second, 2 outs for Boot Powell, or as was said earlier, by 1975, the human Bloody Mary. Boot struck out his first time up. Here's the pitch, and there's a base hit right side through the hole. Manning will score. Powell's on with the single, and it's 2-1 Washington. They thought he was old at 30, and that's true. When we get to the game, the Robinson actual game, he is in the Reds uniform. He looks so sharp, such a throwback with the white hats. Oscar Gamble's 0 for 1. He struck out. Here's the pitch. Fly ball to right. Guillen doesn't even have to move. And that retires the side. Cleveland gets on the board. A run on 2 hits and no errors. After 2.5, it's Washington 2, Cleveland 1. Yep. Manning, Kuiper. Ashby's done some color. And of course, Buddy Bell stayed in baseball as a coach and manager too. So Fritz Peterson's first 9 batters, a tidy 2 innings, 42 pitches, 3 hits allowed, and the 2 earned runs that Washington got in the first. Wilkerson's 0 for 1. And the pitch from Fritz is a liner in the center. Hendrick can't get there, and Wilkerson's on with a single. As I said, it is balmy on this 4th of July in Washington, 98 degrees, and no wind to speak of, 2 miles an hour in from center, so we're passing out the water bottles in the Gatorades. Go make sure you get yourself one as we celebrate Frank Robinson in the nation's capital. Jamie Carroll singled and scored his first time up. Wilkerson not a threat to steal. Peterson's pitch, and there's a little looper into center. Hendrick is there for the out. 1 out for Nick Johnson. 0 for 1. Pitch to Johnson, popped up. Ashby glad to take off the mask to the screen, and it's out of play. So it's a ball and 2 strikes to Nick Johnson. 15 home runs. He's got some power. Here's the pitch. Fly ball to center. Hendrick is there. 2 out. So Ryan Church, who had the RBI double, is up 1 for 1. 2-1 Nationals. The 05 Nationals and the 75 Indians. A tribute to Frank Robinson, the manager, and then we'll play tribute to Frank Robinson, the player. Here's the pitch. And that's going to get into left center for a base hit. Wilkerson will go to third. Hendrick will throw it back in, and there's now runners in the corners. 2 out for Vinny Castilla. For all the credit that Robinson deserves as a manager, I mean, he was never given really the ponies on a good team, with the exception being the 82 Giants, and that was even a crapshoot. He never actually managed in a playoff game. I forgot how long he was with the Expos and Nationals. A while. But he broke down a lot of barriers for people like Felipe Alou, Dusty Baker, just to name a couple. Castilla popped up, center field. Hendrick is over and makes the catch. No run, 2 hits, no errors. After 3, it's Washington 2, Cleveland 1. So Buddy Bell, George Hendrick, and Alan Ashby here in the 4th. Hernandez, don't know how long he'll go, but he struck out Buddy in his first time up, 0 for 1. Here's the pitch. Ground ball to first. Johnson flips it to Hernandez for the out. Here's George Hendrick, he's 0 for 1. The pitch, here's a little runner that's going to play Castilla. So Hendrick will reach on the air, and Castilla fumbled it. Hit on there. That was a new infield. Obviously, RFK had baseball before. When it opened in '62, it was called District of Columbia Stadium, and then renamed after the assassination of Robert Kennedy prior to the '69 season. And so they played 10 seasons of baseball there, and then it was pretty much the home field for the Redskins. And so there was not a permanent pitcher's mound or infield installed until the Nats moved from Montreal to start the 2005 season. Ashby's 0 for 1, and he lays one down. Hernandez goes to second, and Guzman can't get it. The throw goes into center field. And so Cleveland surprises Washington with the bunt. And then you're going to have an E1 as Hernandez threw the ball away, but not deep enough. Wilkerson backed it up well, and Hendrick couldn't advance. So now runners on first and second for Duffy. And 1 out. Hernandez's pitch is a fly ball to right. Guillen is there for the out. Hendrick will tag and go to third. And so Cleveland now has a tying run on third for Fritz Peterson, who is 0 for 1. Let's see. Yeah, 2002 to 2006. Yeah, I believe you're right. No, they opened up a new stadium. So how you doing, Seth? They opened up the new stadium last year, so RFK now is empty. Bubba, how you doing, buddy? So the pitch to Peterson is a pop-up, shallow center. Wilkerson is there, and that retires the side. No runs, no hits, and 2 errors. After 3.5, it's Frank Robinson's Nationals 2, Frank Robinson's Indians 1. And Jose Guillen wipes the sweat off his face on this 98-degree day. He's 0 for 1. Peterson can go 120. At this pace, about 6. Hernandez is about halfway. Well, maybe a little more than that. He can go 115. Guillen's 0 for 1, and he lines that one into left center for extra bases. Oscar Gamble got a late jump on it, and by the time that he reached it, it already hit off the wall. So Guillen's on with a double. Schneider's is at the plate. He's 0 for 1. So 2-1 Washington. 2 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors for the Nats. Cleveland a run on 4 hits and no errors. Peterson delivers, and there's a base hit in the right center. So Guillen will round third and hold. Henderson had a good arm, and Guillen Hendrick has a good arm, and Guillen does not have great speed. So nobody out. Runners in the corners for Guzman, who's 0 for 1. Pitch from Peterson. Popped up center field. Hendrick comes in. That should be too shallow to score Guillen. And Robinson won't tempt Robinson. Hendrick actually was on his horse and made a pretty good diving stop. 1 out for Livan Hernandez. Powell and Bell are in to play the bunt. And you're just not going to do that. Hernandez lines this one to right. Manning has it. Guillen will score without a throw, and it's 3-1 Washington. Brad Wilkerson, 1 for 2. That's a single. Peterson's pitch. There's a ground ball base hit right side. Schneider moves all the way over to third. So for Fritz, and as of 19 batters, 3 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs all earned. He hasn't walked or struck out anybody. Jamie Carroll is 1 for 2. He has singled and scored. I forgot that he was manager of the year, too. Yep. Audi Field. Sports Time Machine hit the like button so hard, Oscar Gamble's hair went straight. Yeah, I forget. Yeah, he actually had a run with, I forgot it was with the Orioles, too, but he never made the playoffs. The pitch to Carroll is a ground ball, a liner in the right center field base hit. Schneider will score. Wilkerson will hold at second, and it's 4-1 Washington. Brings up Nick Johnson. 2 out, runners on. Johnson, fly ball to right. Manning makes the catch to retire the side. So the Nats put 2 more on the board on 4 hits and no errors. After 4 of this doubleheader, second game is the 66 O's and the 61 Reds. Washington 4, Cleveland 1. Elton John Bubba. I like that. So Rick Manning is Livan Hernandez has faced 18 batters, 4 innings, 4 hits, no runs. He has struck out 4. Rick Manning is 2 for 2. He has singled twice and scored. Here's the pitch. And he drops one down. Schneider and Johnson, everyone tries to go for it, but no one's going to get it. Manning has bunted his way on. That caught everybody by surprise. So Frank Robinson tricks Frank Robinson again. And so the Indians start the 5th with the bunt single. Here's Dwayne Kuiper. Dwayne is 1 for 2 with a single. Hernandez got away from Schneider. And the 2-1 cutter just got past everybody. But Manning wasn't really paying much attention and didn't go. So it's a wild pitch, but the runners don't advance. JD is here today. Hercules. Okay. Wow. Here's the pitch, and Kuiper is nailed by Hernandez. And he's thrown out of the game. We got ourselves a fight. We got a fight. Schneider and Kuiper get into it. And so does Hernandez. Does Hernandez get ejected too? No. So Kuiper and Schneider got into it. Schneider was holding him back. They called each other a couple so-and-sos. And Schneider must have went a bridge too far. He's been thrown out. So there you go. Talk about playing the tenacity and temerity of your manager getting thrown out of a tribute game. Imagine that. So Gary Bennett will come in to catch. I've never heard of him before. Anyway, here's Boog Powell. He's 1 for 2. It's a single, a strikeout, and an RBI. I knew they were ejections. That's nuts. That's nuts. That's right. Reginald Hercules Dwight for Elton John. That's crazy. So the pitch from Hernandez, runners go. Manning throws to third, and the throw is late. It's a double steal. So we're seeing all the computer rolling out all the tricks this afternoon. So it's an 0-1 count to Boog Powell. And the pitch is a fly ball to right. Ian in the corner. He's got it. Manning will tag and score without a throw. Pfeiffer moves up to third. And it's 4-2 Washington. Oh, I didn't realize you weren't feeling well, JD. Yep, 5-minute majors, Robbie. So here's the Afro, Oscar Gamble. He's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Here's the pitch. Liner right to Guzman, and there's 2 outs. Here's Buddy Bell, 0 for 2 with a strikeout. It's tough always for a pitcher to adjust to a new catcher in the middle of an outing, because chances are he didn't warm you up. And never mind that, he got Bell to look at strike 3. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors. Halfway home in this opener. Remember, it's a doubleheader. Washington 4, Cleveland 2. Yeah, it's been a rough year for a lot of people, and I'm sorry to hear that you were sick. So Ryan Church, single, double, RBI, and a run scored. We'll face Peterson here in the bottom of the 5th. Here we go. Struck him out. So Church swung on and missed a 1-2 pitch, and that's Peterson's first strikeout. He's at 90 pitches. And he'll face Vinny Castilla, who's 1 for 2. Here's the pitch, and here's a little looper down the line and left up for extra bases. Castilla's on with a double. And they'll bring up Guillen. Guillen's 1 for 2. So Peterson, this is not his best effort. He's given up 10 hits already. Pitch to Guillen is a little looper in the left. Gamble has got it, and Castilla will try for third. The throw, oh shoot, you know what? I forgot who I was managing. Castilla tried for third, and I realized I was controlling him, and Gamble got him. I thought the chances of making the out were 26%. I goofed. The chances of him making it to third were 26%. So Castilla read through the wrong sign, and that's the inning. We go to the 6th. It's 4-2 Washington. And so Hernandez gets the fatigue warning early. It'll be Hendrick, Ashby, and Duffy. And I wonder if Robinson will pinch hit for Peterson, should anybody reach. Levon delivers, ball 4 to Hendrick. So here's Alan Ashby, he's 0 for 1. That's the first walk for Hernandez. Pitch to Allen. Little nubber bunt. Bennett throws over to Carroll, covering, and they got him. So Cleveland playing some small ball. It's a sacrifice bunt. Score it 2-4. And they'll bring up Frank Duffy, he's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Hendrick on second. 4-2 Washington, top the 6th. Here's the pitch. Fly ball deep to right. Duffy. Guillen tracks it down. Hendrick will tag and move to third. And so 2 out for Fritz Peterson. Now let's see what Frank Robinson does. He'll let him bat. Popped up. Bennett off with the mask. And that retires the side. No runs, no hits, no wins. We go to the bottom of the 6th, game 1. Washington 4, Cleveland 2. Let's see what Michael's doing. Well, you can always watch later. Have fun at your meeting. Thanks for the compliment. For everyone else, he's doing a 49 Red Sox replay. And just started a 58 San Francisco Giants replay. And you can follow it all at thepeskypole.net. I gotta get Michael on my show at some point. He's been due, but thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate it. So here's Gary Bennett. Gary at 221 on the year with a homer and 21 RBI. Peterson's pitch, and Gary hits this one into center. Hendrick is there for the out. Christian Guzman is 0 for 2. Okay, you know, I can't wait for the wrestling match between Clinton and ID on Tuesday. That's going to be so much fun. Pitch to Guzman is a ground ball up the middle. Kuiper is there, over to Powell, and that is an out. So Peterson has the first two down here in the 6th. And Livan Hernandez will hit. He's 0 for 1 with an RBI. Peterson delivers, and there's a fly ball to deep right. Manning to the track makes the catch. Nats go down in order after 6. Washington 4, Cleveland 2. And so, after 27 batters, Hernandez has thrown only 97 pitches. That's pretty neat and tidy. 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, both earned. He has walked 1 and struck out 5. And Rick Manning is 3 for 3. He has singled 3 times, scored twice, stole a base, and been a general nuisance here in Washington. The pitch, they're going to get him this time. Grounded to Castillo at third, over to Johnson. 1 out. For Dwayne Kuiper, who was 1 for 2, stole a base on that double steal. Cleveland's last time up in the 5th. That's when they got their run, their second run. Hernandez's pitch, and there's a base hit right side through the hole, and Kuiper's on. So that's the 6th hit allowed by Hernandez, and that'll bring up Boog Powell. 1 for 2, single and 2 RBI. Has both the RBIs, as a matter of fact, for the Indians. And the strikeout. Here's the pitch. Fly ball to right. Guillen in the corner. He's got it. Kuiper goes back to first. And there are 2 out for Oscar Gamble, who struck out. He's 0 for 3. Here's the pitch, and there's a fly ball to right again. Guillen gets Gamble, and that's the end. In time to stretch and get something cold here in Washington. It's the Nats 4, the Indians 2, and Dave LaRoche is now on the hill for Cleveland. He is their fireman, 5-3 in 75 with 17 saves and a 2.19 ERA. The 82 1/3 innings, he allowed 61 hits, 5 homers, 57 walks, and 94 strikeouts. So Fritz Peterson pitched an okay ball game. He's on the wrong side of a 4-2 score. But as the temperature now hits 100 here in Washington, he's ready to cool off with one of his wives. Here's the pitch to Wilkerson. Ground ball to Powell over to first himself for the out. Brings up Jamie Carroll, who's 2 for 3. Speaking of Carroll, if you look at the C there on LaRoche's hat, it's kind of a funny looking thing. Now, for those of us who grew up on the East Coast, do you remember a hamburger chain by the name of Carroll's? And that looks a lot like the Cleveland C. Just putting it out there. Al, we'll talk to you later. Glad you could join us. And so LaRoche is ready, and Carroll is 2 for 3, and there's a fly ball to right. Manning is there. He's got it. And he's already made a 7th put out of the game in right field. That's a lot. Big Johnson's 0 for 3. 4-2 Nats, bottom of the 7th. LaRoche got him on the inside corner on a 1-2 pitch. That's the inning. We played 7. Washington 4, Cleveland 2. And so Livan Hernandez will stay up there at least to start the 8th inning. It'll be Bell, Hendrick, and Ashby for the Indians. Hernandez delivers, and Bell hits a ground ball to Castillo, over to Johnson, and 1 out. So here's George Hendrick. He's over 2 with a walk. That's true. Oh, please, Clinton, I'll find you a Michigan shirt. Hernandez deals, and Hendrick strikes out. A 1-2 curve in there at the knees, and that's 6 for Hernandez. 2 out for Ashby. who's 0 for 1. Duffy on deck should the inning continue. And a fly ball to center. Wilkerson's there in left center, and that retires the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. 7.5 in the books. Washington 4, Cleveland 2. Yes, there, Chris. By the way, guys, for Game 2, if anyone's still watching, if you got any Robinson stories you'd like to share, I'll read them when we do that game in a few minutes. So Church is 2 for 3. He's doubled an RBI, struck out, and scored a run. 4-2 Nats, bottom of the 8th. And Church will strike out. LaRoche got him with a 2-2. He swung on and missed, and that's 2 strikeouts. Castilla is 2 for 3. Vinny has a single, a double, and RBI. Got him. So LaRoche is pitching well. A full count payoff pitch was in there at the knees for strike 3. So Guillen now 1 for 3. He's got a double and a run scored. 4-2 Nats, bottom of the 8th. LaRoche delivers and he struck out Guillen. A 2-2 pitch on the outside corner, and that'll take care of Washington. No runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the top of the 9th. It's Washington 4, Cleveland 2. And that'll do it for Hernandez. Chad Cordero comes in to pitch. Cordero got 47 saves and was a huge reason why Washington contended as long as they did in 05. 2-4 on the year with 47 saves, an ERA of 1.82. 74 in the third innings, 55 hits, 9 homers. 17 walks and 61 strikeouts. And we all know the superiority of Michigan football in some years. Not the last few, but in some years. Frank Duffy's 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Here's the pitch from Cordero, and that's a base hit in the left. Church will corral that one on a hop, and that'll bring up LaRoche, who definitely will not hit. So it's 4-2, leadoff runner on, and Duffy, and nobody out here in the 9th. Ed Crosby coming in to pinch hit. Robinson can. He's just choosing not to. 30 for 128 on the year, 234 with 7 RBI. Cordero delivers, strike 3. Full count, swung on and missed. And 1 out for Manning, who is 3 for 4. He has singled 3 times, scored twice, and stole a base. How you doing, Dave Gardner? Dog pile on the rabbit. That's not true. Here's the pitch. Manning hits this one in the left field. Church is going to dive for it and can't get it. It's in the corner. Duffy rounds third. He's going to score. Manning's into third with a triple. And it's 4-3 Washington with 1 out for Dwayne Kuiper, who is 2 for 3. And they send 4 wide ones to Kuiper. So the Nationals now will play for a double play. So Boog Powell, 1 for 3. He has 2 RBI and a strikeout. Cordero delivers, and it gets away from Bennett. The tying run scores on the pass ball by Bennett. And Cordero can't hold the save. So it's 4-4 here in the 9th. So the go-ahead run is on for Powell. And Cordero will send him to first. So 1 out for Oscar Gamble, who was 0 for 4 with a strikeout. Hit from Cordero is a ground ball to Carroll. To Guzman for 1 to Johnson. And that is not in time. So Washington played it the right way, but it was not only a batter too late, Gamble beat it out. So here's Buddy Bell. He is 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Here's the pitch to Bell, and that's up the middle. Cordero stabs it over to Johnson to retire the side. Tom Buskey comes in for the Indians. And so after 8.5, 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, the Tribe strikes back. Cleveland 4, Washington 4. Bennett, Guzman, and a pinch hitter for the Nats as they try to pull back ahead. 4-4, bottom of the ninth. Pitch to Bennett, popped up left side. Bell by the dugout, no. So it's still an 0-2 count for Buskey. 5-3 with 7 saves, a 2.57 ERA, 77 hits, 77 innings, 69 hits, 7 home runs. He walked 29 and struck out 29. And the pitch to Bennett is a fly ball to right. Manning is there, and that will retire the side. We're only going to let this game go to. No, Zimmerman's there. Zimmerman's there. Saying he was the first player drafted. Here's Guzman. Guzman is 0 for 3. Here's the pitch, ball 4. So the winning run is on for Ryan Zimmerman. Ask and ye shall receive. So the first Washington National, the first player drafted, they rushed him up at the end of the year. And so, if you're looking for degrees of separation between Washington now and Washington in 2005, Zimmerman goes right back to Frank Robinson. Zimmerman actually had a good start, 397, 10 doubles, and 6 RBI. He was a third baseman. Guzman has decent speed at first. On something hitting the gap, Guzman could score. Buskey delivers, and Zimmerman grounds out one to Duffy. The Kuiper for 1 over to Powell, and it's extra baseball. No runs, 1 hit, no error. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 9, it's Cleveland 4, Washington 4. So Gary Majewski comes in to pitch. Gary at 293, 4-4 with the save, 86 innings, 80 hits, 2 home runs. He walked 37 and struck out 50. George Hendrick, 0 for 3 with a walk and a strikeout. 4-4 here in the 10th. And Hendrick hits this one into left center, popping up. Guzman on the grass, 1 out. Alan Ashby's 0 for 2. Majewski's pitch. Right back to the pitcher. Over to Johnson, 2 out. Yeah. So yeah, in a 30-year stretch. In a 30 years, still an impressive run. So this is his first franchise that he managed for in his last one. Duffy 1 for 4. Scored in the 9th. He's the reason why we're here. Here's the pitch, and there's a base hit left center field. Duffy drove one past Guzman and couldn't leap in time, and there's 2 out for Buskey. Do we finally see Frank Robinson? Yes, we do. Oops. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I can't delete the last play. So Buskey swung on and missed. He'll still pitch. We go to the bottom of the 10th. It's still 4-4. I was trying to have Robinson come up and hit, but I screwed that one up. Brad Wilkerson, 2 for 4. With Carroll and Johnson to follow. Buskey delivers. Ground ball to Kuiper. Second over to Powell. 1 out. But still, freebie baseball. And don't forget, this is a doubleheader. 61 Reds host the 66 Orioles next over most of these Retro Sports Network stations. Jamie Carroll is 2 for 4 with an RBI, and he's going to get his 3rd single. No, Hendrick reaches over and makes a diving stop in front of the track. 2 out. And I forgot that was coffee there, not tea. What a play by Hendrick. So Nick Johnson's 0 for 4. 2 outs here in the 10th. Here's the pitch, and there's a fly ball to center. Hendrick is there, and he bobbled it, but finally hung on to it as he's tumbling towards the ground. And so no runs, no hits, and no errors. After 10, Cleveland 4, Washington 4. And yep, Seth, they finished 81 and 81. We're going to let this go one more inning, okay? And then call it one here, because the main thing was Robinson versus Robinson. So the last inning either way, Majeski delivers a walk to Manning, who is 4 for 5. So here's Dwayne Kuiper. He's 2 for 3. 2 singles, a stolen base, and a walk. The winning run for Cleveland is on. Majeski delivers. Manning goes. Fly ball to right. Hit and run was on. And again, it's out of play. Why did they put the outside there? Oh, Kuiper broke his back. They said out, but there was no out. Here's the pitch to Kuiper. Manning goes up the middle. Oh, he steals second. So Manning has 2 stolen bases. What? And a strikeout out. So Kuiper strikes out, and Manning was gone on the pitch, and Manning takes second on the throwdown. 1 out for Boog Powell. 1 for 3 with 2 RBI. Here's the pitch. Got him! 1-2 curve, strike 3. For Oscar Gamble, last chance for Cleveland. He's 0 for 5 with a strikeout. Here's the pitch. Gamble strikes out. He chased one. And so we go to the bottom of the 11th inning. Cleveland 4. Washington 4. If this wasn't a doubleheader, or if Robinson was playing, I would finish it out. But we can't do that. And you can have a tie. It's an exhibition game, for goodness sakes. We have them down in Florida and Arizona. Ryan Church is 2 for 4. He has doubled, scored, and driven in a run, and struck out twice. Buskey's still in the ball game, and Church hits this one deep to right. Manning, 1 out. Well, it's up to you guys. I can play another inning, but the plan here is to get 2 in. And I don't want the first one to run forever. Vinny Castilla, 2 for 4. Double and RBI. Here's the pitch from Buskey, and there's a little looper in the center. Hendrick is there. 2 out. So Jose Guillen, 1 for 4. He's got a double and a run scored and a strikeout. So 2 out, 100 degrees, and city officials really don't want people out in this heat. Here's the pitch. Guillen, ground ball to Duffy, makes a fantastic play. A long throw to Powell. Well, you guys are the ones watching it. We'll go one more. We'll go 12. But after that, that's pretty much it. So Majeski comes out, and we're going to have John Patterson come in to pitch. John was a starter, 9-7 on the year with a 3.13 ERA. 198 in the 3rd innings, 172 hits, 19 homers. He walked 65 and struck out 185. Buddy Bell is 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. This is the last inning. I do want to get the second game in. Bell hits a base hit in the left field. Church will pick it up off a hop. And the Indians have the go-ahead runner first for George Hendrick, who was 0 for 4 with a walk and a strikeout. Here's the pitch. Hendrick strikes out, so Patterson got him on a 0-2 pitch. And that'll bring up Alan Ashby. No, it won't. No, it won't. And look who's coming up. A standing ovation for Frank Robinson. He can't play for Washington, but he can pinch hit for Cleveland. In 75, he had 237, 9 homers, and 24 RBI, and walked 29 times. And so he didn't want to do it, but Buddy Bell pretty much dragged him out of the dugout, and Robinson's wearing a helmet. Patterson really doesn't know what to throw as manager. Here's the pitch, and there's a fly ball to right. Guillen is there, and Bell is back, and I'll put Cleveland back in charge of themselves now. So Bell, the winning run, or go-ahead run on first for Duffy, who was 2 for 5. 2 singles, a run scored, and a strikeout. And for the record, I don't approve of putting in an extra runner on second to start an inning. I think that's silly. 4 runs, 10 hits for both clubs. The Nats have 2 errors. Cleveland is trailing 12, the Nats 5. And Bell tried to steal and didn't get a good jump, so it's a 0-1 count to Duffy. Here's the pitch. There goes Bell. Throw down to Carroll, and then Bell is out. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors. We go to the bottom of the 12th. Buskey's still out there. Ellis now the new catcher. It is Cleveland 4, Washington 4. No, Frank won't walk himself intentionally. I was hoping that was it. I was trying to set that up for the moment, but the game plays itself honestly. So here's the pitch to Bennett, who's 0 for 2, and he gets on with a single. It would be kind of fitting that if you manage against yourself, that you don't win or lose. Christian Guzman's 0 for 3, and we're going to pinch hit for him. And who are we going to do that with? We're going to... Oh, God. Jose Vidro comes up. He's at 275, 7 homers, and 32 RBI. 4-4, 12th inning. Last half inning of the game. Vidro to Duffy at short. Puts the Kuiper for 1 over to Powell. That's 2. John Patterson's not going to bat for himself. And so Preston Wilson will come in to hit. And Jackie Brown and that big old plug of Shaw on his cheek will come in to pitch. So 69 and 3rd innings for Jackie. 72 hits, including 9 home runs. Hint, hint, hint. 29 walks and 41 strikeouts. He went 1-2 with a save and a 4.28 ERA. Wilson 261, 10 homers and 43 RBI. Brown delivers, and that's the ball game. So we're going to call this one a tie, and it is kind of appropriate when you manage against yourself, unless it's cards and dice, or what I'm doing that you play for a winner. But we want to get on to the main game. And so, but I just did not feel it was appropriate to pay tribute to Robinson without giving credit to his managerial. And in fact, he managed so well, he managed himself into a pretzel and a tie. So this one's going to end 4-4. You're going to look at me for a minute, and we're going to call this one a day. So if you have a sister at home or at work or whatever, just give her a call and tell her hi. You don't have to kiss her, just tell her hi. So thanks for your patience. And so we're now going to get to the main part of the game. And yep, Frank's playing for the Reds. I'm going to manage the Reds. The computer's going to manage the Orioles. It's Dave McNally and Jim O'Toole. And as hot as it was in Washington, it's only 79 here in Cincinnati. They were in first place. Yeah. About mid-season. Oh, now Baseball Demos has the good thing. I always wondered if there was ever a player manager who pitches, is on the mound, calls time to talk to himself, if that's counted as a mound visit. I don't know if it'd be counted as a mound visit, but Colin Cowherd and Skip Bayless, I gotta sneeze, would have 17 cows about the whole situation, if that was the case. As we wait for that sneeze, we cut to Crossley Field for the Frank Robinson tribute game. And Frank is playing both games here. He's in left field for the Reds and right field for the Orioles. And so Jim O'Toole is on the mound for the 61 Reds. And we will play this out to its entirety. I just didn't want to play an 18-inning game and then call another game on top of that. O'Toole went 19-9 for the National League champion Reds and had 2 saves. 252 and 2/3 innings, 229 hits, 16 homers. He walked 93 and struck out 178. And I think, even though I don't have the uniforms up here, I believe the Reds, had the white vested uniforms. And were the only major league team I can, maybe the Indians did this a little bit later on, that had the number on the back and then the name below it. As opposed to if you have your name on the back of the jersey, it's above the number. But I believe the Reds were the only team I know of that, Cleveland might have done it a couple times, that had it below. Here's the lineup for the 66 Orioles. It's Louis Aparicio at short. Paul Blair will bat second and play center. Frank Robinson, the right fielder, the man of the hour, will bat third. Imagine that. He managed the game against himself and managed to tie it. That's pretty impressive. Boog Powell does not look like a Bloody Mary. This time he will clean up and play first. Kurt Blyfieri, someone will tell me Clint will tell me how to pronounce that, will play left and bat fifth. Brooks Robinson will play third and bat sixth. Davey Johnson, another Nationals connection, will play second and bat seventh. Andy Etchebarren's behind the plate and will bat eighth. And Dave McNally, who should go 130 pitches, will bat ninth. No DH, of course, in the 60s. Frank Robinson is in left for the Reds. He's a 5 and a 9. Vada Pinson, a 10 and an 8 in the center. And if I pronounce that wrong, someone will tell me. Wally Post, a 5 and 6 in right. Gene Freese is a 5 at third. Eddie Casco is a 5 at short. Red Sox fans will remember him as a manager. Don Blasingame is a 5 at second. Gene Coleman is a 6 at first, and not Brian Zimmerman, the regular Jerry Zimmerman, is a 7 behind the plate. Aparicio had a great year in the Orioles' first pennant-winning season, 276, 6 homers, and 41 RBI. Leffery, thank you. Leffery, okay. Yeah, it's a pun-free zone. This really is a tribute thing. The jokes can come back tomorrow during basketball and all that. But today I really just want to keep it for people who want to drop stories about Frank. If you got any memories of him, now's the time to share it that we get into the main event. So O'Toole delivers, ground ball to Freese, over to Coleman, and this one starts with a ground out. So, referee. Okay, I got it. Thank you, guys. Paul Blair at 277, 6 homers and 33 RBI. Comes in. The Orioles wearing the hats that Blair has in the picture. The cartoon bird with the dark background. The white one came in the 70s. And yeah, Robinson wore that too. O'Toole delivers, and that's up the middle. Casco over to Coleman, and that's the second out. So here he is, Frank Robinson. And the place just stands as one for Frank, as they will all day. And you wonder why he won the MVP in 1966? Well, he won the batting crown at 316. He led the league in homers with 149 and drove in 122. And of all the times that players have won the Triple Crown, it's only happened back-to-back once. Robinson did it in 66, and Carl Yastrzemski did it, of course, in 67. Robinson scored 122 runs. Struck out a lot for the era, 90. Pitch from O'Toole, and Robinson strikes out. A 2-2 pitch swung on and missed. He was kind of batting tears from his eyes with that ovation. And that retires the side. Baltimore nothing. Here comes the Reds. And so Dave McNally, I'm surprised the computer went with 13-6 on the year, the 3.17 ERA. 213 innings, 212 hits, 22 home runs, walked 64, and struck out 158. And the lineup for Cincinnati is that Veda Pinson will lead off from play center. Wally Post will bat second. Frank Robinson bats third on both ends. Imagine playing a doubleheader and you being out in the field all the time. Gene Freeze will clean up and hit third. Coleman will play first and bat fifth. Casco, the shortstop, will hit sixth. Blasingame, the second baseman, seventh. Zimmerman, the catcher, will hit eighth. And O'Toole, who threw 14 pitches, will bat ninth. Yeah, 1-2-9-6. This definitely was not an ace. I think the computer just took a look to see who was throwing. Talked about him as a manager, managed the O's in the 80s, the Giants in 82, the Indians, and the Nationals that we just saw. They should show 60s games. Baltimore was one of those teams that actually saved some games on tape. I've seen some clips of both the Robinsons hitting home runs at both Fenway and, I believe, down in D.C. from Sunday games. I'll tell you a Strat story in a minute. Pinson at 343, 16 homers, 97 RBI. McNally delivers, and there's a fly ball to Robinson to right, and he will get in the corner to get it. Here's Wally Post, 294, 20 homers, and 57 RBI. So Strat's story is the first experience I ever had regarding Frank Robinson was his manager card with San Francisco in the 1982 Topps card set. I would imagine if it wasn't that one, Chris, it'd probably be 78 with Cleveland because those uniforms were quite distinct. And if you remember the 78 Topps cards for the managers, they had them a black and white shot in the corner as a player and as a manager. And of course, Sparky Anderson always looked 900 years old. Seth's story about Frank Robinson is that he met him at Nats Fest in 2010. Frank did a lot with all of his organizations. Of course, it was easy with Baltimore being right up the road. I think we're going to see Frank fly out to himself. And I'll get to the Cubs and the Bears in a minute here. McNally's pitched to Post to strike three. 0-2 pitch and swung on and missed. So here's Robinson from the 61 version. Hit 323, 37 home runs, 124. He's got it. No, he doesn't. He bobbles it. He dropped it. And the crowd rises as Robinson goes into second. Blair's a good center fielder, but I think the moment really has kind of caught to everybody. And Robinson will reach on an air for Gene Freeze. I'll tell you about Freeze in a moment. The Cubs and the Bears say Frank hit a few bombs against the Cubs at Wrigley when he was with Cincy. Always admired him as a player and more importantly as a man. And RESPECT is a hash mark. Amen to Cubs and the Bears. So how about that? Glad to have you back, JD. So here's Freeze. Gene, a big part of this Reds team, 277, 26 homers, and 87 RBI. 2 out. Robinson on second. Fly ball to left. Blufferary makes the play in left. So no runs, no hits in the air. It doesn't cost the Orioles anything. After one, Baltimore nothing, Cincinnati nothing. Powell, Blufferary, and Robinson. Brooks, not Frank, due up for the Orioles here in the second. Boog at 287, 34 homers, and 109 RBI. I'm sure they're out there. Aaron just had his birthday. I believe he just turned 85. Pitch from to Powell is a fly ball to right. Robinson goes back and makes the catch. So a righty, kind of like Manny Ramirez, a right fielder for Cincinnati, his National League team or his first team, and a left fielder, at least on this day, for the Orioles. And Kurt is at 259, 23 homers and 64 RBI. And as you can tell from the hat, a big part of the Orioles for a long time in the 60s. They had some close calls. 60 and 64, they were right there. But when they traded Milt Pappas for Frank Robinson, and I'm certain others went over too, it put Baltimore over the top. O'Toole delivers, and that's a fly ball to left center. Pinson makes the catch for the second out. And that'll bring up Brooks Robinson. Speaking of gentlemen, 269, 23 homers, a vacuum cleaner at third, and 100 RBI. And I don't think I gave you the defensive numbers for Baltimore, as a matter of fact. We'll do that the next half inning. Robinson up the middle, pass Blasingame in for a single. So Robinson has a 2-out single. And that'll bring out, a goofy-looking Davy Johnson. 257, 7 homers, and 56 RBI. Johnson will swing and hit this one to Robinson and right, who makes the catch. So Robinson read him like the book, where he should have. They were teammates. You do that. After an inning and a half, Baltimore nothing, Cincinnati nothing. I agree, Dave, that Frank would have made a great commissioner. Absolutely. Had the best interests of the game at heart. Such a gentleman. We were talking about during the first game how he was the perfect choice to run Montreal and Washington during that transition time. It was just so smooth. And that 2005 team played so hard for him. When they got to 500, they were well in over their heads. Fun fact, Robbie and Bill Russell went to the same high school in Oakland, and both were on the same basketball team. My God. Really? I did not know that. So, really, we're going to get 200 subscribers? That would be sweet if it happened in this stream. It really would. So, if you're on the fence, we have a lot of fun. Hit that subscribe button. And we'll do something for 200 over the weekend, because that does mean an awful lot. Thanks, Seth and Strat, for pointing that out. You guys are awesome. Here's Gordy Coleman. Oh, I got to give you the defensive numbers for Baltimore. Kurt Bluffery, a 3 and a 3, and left. Paul Blair. Oh, Robinson's a right fielder in both. What'd you let me get away with that for? Blair's a 6 and 9 in center. Robinson a 6 and 7 in right. Brooks Robinson is a vacuum cleaner at third. He's a 10. Look at the left side of that infield. Aparicio is a 10 at short. Davy Johnson a 7 at second. And Powell a 5 at first. And Echeverrin a 7 and a 6. So Coleman at 287, 26 homers and 87 RBI.
Strike 3.
And McNally got him. A 2-2 pitch on the inside corner, 1 down. Andy Casco, you see him here with the Astros, played with a good player for the Reds, 271, 2 homers and 27 RBI. Good manager for the Red Sox and stayed with the Sox after he was dismissed. McNally delivers, and Casco hits a ground ball to third. Robinson over to Powell, and that's an out. Brings up Don Blasingame, 222, a homer and 21 RBI. McNally delivers, and there's a ground ball up the middle. Aparicio by the bag at second. Long throw from his knees to Powell, and that retires the side. A diving stab by Little Louie, and the Reds go down in order in the second. After 2, Baltimore nothing, Cincinnati nothing. And Dave, Baseball Demo, says, who would have thought 2 future Nationals managers were on the Orioles in their heyday? Hank Bauer was the manager for the Orioles in '66, I believe. I believe Paul Richards was gone. And Bauer, the Orioles were definitely underdogs going into that '66 series. They swept the Dodgers. Then Jim Palmer got hurt in '67. They got off to a slow start, I believe, in '68. And they hired Earl Weaver. And the rest is history. That 71 Orioles squad had 4 20-game winners. Andy Echeverrin at 221, 11 homers and 50 RBI. Steps in to face O'Toole, and he strikes out. An 0-2 pitch on the inside corner, 1 away. For Dave McNally, McNally was one of those pitchers at 120. 195 with 3 RBI, the average. O'Toole's pitch, ball 4. You never want to walk the pitcher. So through 9 batters, O'Toole with 36 pitches, 2 1/3 innings, a hit. He has walked 1 and struck out 2. Louis Aparicio is not the strikeout victim. Runner on first, 1 out, top of the 3rd. Orioles and Reds scoreless here at Crossley Field on a 78-degree day. Winds blowing out to left center. By that scoreboard, Aparicio punches this one into left center for a base hit, and there are runners on first and second. With 1 out for Paul Blair, who's 0 for 1. O'Toole delivers, and that's a fly ball deep to center field and gone. So Paul Blair hits a 3-run shot. McNally and Aparicio score, and the Orioles lead it 3-1. That's a tall wall out there in center field to whatever factory is out there. And so let's watch the replay of that. Something you would never have thought of if you were actually at Crossley Field. Would have been a replay board. Here's Frank Robinson again. Another standing O. He struck out his first time up. And he'd have to hit one to the opposite side to hit one to himself. Pitch from O'Toole. Fly ball center field. Pinson has got it. 2 out for Brooks Howell. Howell is 0 for 1. O'Toole delivers, and there's a fly ball to Robinson and right. He's got it, and that retires the side. Paul Blair is the hero of this inning. 3 runs, 2 hits, no errors. 2.5 in the books. Baltimore 3, Cincinnati nothing. Ooh. Imagine if the 71 Orioles had a pitch count like today, and Chris chimes in, they did. A bunch more, a whole lot, and too many. Yep. And if they ever had developed a bullpen in Baltimore, they would have won more than 1 World Series. Jerry Zimmerman's at 206 with 10 RBI. O'Toole on deck. McNally's ready. And here's the pitch. There's a ground ball to Powell. He'll take it to first himself, and in the bottom of the 3rd starts with the ground out. So Jim O'Toole at 172, no homers and 6 RBI. McNally's ready. Here's the pitch. Got him! On a 2-2 pitch on the outside corner. So that's the 3rd strikeout for McNally. You know, for all that whip of 1-2-9-6, 9 up. He's faced 9 batters, and he's retired 8. 2 2/3 innings, 3 strikeouts on 36 pitches. Pinson is 0 for 1. Pinson, fly ball, shallow center. Blair comes in to make the catch. No runs, no hits, no errors. We played 3 here in Game 2, and it is 3-0 Baltimore. So Lindor's out 7 to 9 weeks with a calf strain. Wow! Thanks, guys. 201 subscribers. That's awesome. That is awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Sports Time Machine, and thank all of you who put up with the nonsense on this channel. You guys are just the best. Now here's Kurt. He's 0 for 1. 3-0 Birds here in the 4th, top of the 4th. O'Toole delivers, and there's a ground ball to Casco over to Coleman, and that's going to have to be in a hurry, and they got him on a bang-banger. So here comes Brooks Robinson. Brooks is 1 for 1. Here's the pitch. And there's a base hit left side, so Brooks now goes 2 for 2. For Davey Johnson, who retired his first time up, 4th hit allowed by O'Toole. And I got to remember, I'm managing the Reds. Pitch to Johnson, struck him out. Full count, got him swinging. So that's the 3rd for O'Toole. And here's Echeverrin, who's 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Here's the pitch. Got him. Full count again, and Echeverrin swings and misses. He almost got into trouble, and he bailed himself right back out. No runs, a hit, no errors. After 3.5, it's the Orioles 3, the Reds nothing. No, I don't need to do that. Thank you, though, and thank you so much for the kind words in the chat about it. Remember, Dave, I have your email address. Just don't forget that. Here's Wally Post. Wally struck out his first time up. McNally, one of McNally's 3. Here's the pitch. Popped up. Aparicio and Robinson call for it, and Brooks has it on the grass. So here's again Frank Robinson, and again, it's just another one standing ovation after another. And he's looking quite embarrassed by the whole thing. There's no selection for me here to hit groove. I'd love to groove one to him. McNally delivers, and that's a fly ball to center. Blair fights the sun and makes the catch. 2 out. Team Freeze is 0 for 1. McNally delivers, and Freeze goes down. He swung on and missed on a 1-2 pitch, and that retires the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. We played 4. Baltimore 3, Cincinnati nothing. You had to read a brownie recipe off your phone. And how much naughty substances are in your brownies, Bubba? There's Dave McNally. He walked, which is why he never walked a pitcher, and scored on a 3-run blast by Blair. In the 3rd. Well, you have to wait for the 2019 Nationals to come out, but yeah, you could, Seth. OOTP is easier to do those what-ifs. I'll explain that in a minute. And yeah, Chris got it too. You should get the game. But it's not like OOTP. I can't create... Which is much more of a sandbox game than this. I had to go through some steps for this. O'Toole delivers. McNally punches that one into center. In fact, that's going all the way to the wall. Henson plays it off at the carom, and McNally has a double. And so through 18 batters, O'Toole has 4 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs all in. The homer by Blair, who's on deck, by the way. A walk and 4 strikeouts. Aparicio was 1 for 2. He singled and scored, I believe. Right back to O'Toole, over to Coleman for the out. 1 out, he did score. And here's Paul Blair, only hit 6 on the year in 303 at-bats. So Paul's 1 for 2. McNally on second. 1 out, top the 5th. 3-0 Birds. Here's the pitch. Ground ball to Casco, over to Coleman for the out. McNally will go to third. And so here's Frank Robinson. 0 for 2 with a strikeout for the Orioles. 0 for 2 with the Reds. Runner on third. You're going to get 5 to 10 at-bats today, at least trying to get something out of it, right? Here's the pitch. Runner goes. Ground ball to Casco. Over to Coleman, and Gordy applies the tag and apologizes. No runs, a hit, and no errors. Halfway home here in Game 2. It's Baltimore 3, Cincinnati nothing. So Coleman, Casco, and Blassingin to face McNally here in the bottom of the 5th. Oh, okay. It's kids. Yeah, you don't want the kids to get into them. Yeah, OOTP could do that. Beer and chicken's really good. Beer and pizza's pretty good too. But you gotta drink the beer. Coleman's 0 for 1, and if we're gonna do it right, it's what? It's National Bohemian if you're the Orioles. And I forgot what the someone's gonna tell me what the Reds were drinking back in '61. It wasn't Budweiser. Pitch to Coleman. It's a high fly ball to right, and Robinson turns and watches that go. That ball was blasted. Gordy just got all of that one in the right center. And it's now 3-1. So watching again, McNally kind of grooved that one, and Robinson had no choice. That's a souvenir. So Gordy gets his, and it's 3-1 now, bottom of the 5th. Here's Eddie Casco. He's 0 for 1. Falstaff, right? But it was. There's some German-sounding thing. McNally's pitch. Casco hits this one to right. Back goes Frank. He makes the catch. Don Blasingame is 0 for 1. But Falstaff was a big beer sponsor back in the late 50s. Pitch from McNally. Blasingame. Oops. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Am I still on it? Okay. We dropped a couple frames here. That's not good. That's not good. Are we doing okay? Yeah. Let me know if that drops again. Jerry Zimmerman's 0 for 1. 3-1 Baltimore. Bottom of the 5th here at Crossley Field. McNally delivers. Ground ball to Johnson. Over to Powell. And that retires the side. We go 1 run, 1 hit, no errors. The home run by Coleman makes it Baltimore 3, Cincinnati 1. And thanks again for your patience. It's an extra long stream to try to get to. Feel bad about the first game ending in a tie, but knew this was going to be a doubleheader and wanted to make sure this one can play out forever, as far as I'm concerned. Because that's the one that people I think are going to want to watch the most. So how many people have unsubscribed? Yeah, the moonshot drop frame. Okay. Okay, well, Bubba, my jokester, actually comes up with a serious line. Falstaff is named for a character from Shakespeare. Well, if you drink a 12th a night, you certainly would feel it. So here's Boog Powell. He's 0 for 2. Speaking of I'll have a Falstaff story in a moment. O'Toole to Zimmerman. Powell pops this one to Robinson and right for the out. 1 out. Falstaff was the sponsor for CBS's quote-unquote Game of the Week package. That's the one that featured Dizzy Dean and Pee Wee Reese. And Dizzy's play-by-play abilities make me look like a Hall of Famer, because Dizzy was, you talk about a show, Dizzy massacred the English language and all that. At the time, teams controlled where their games were televised. Those national TV games, except for the All-Star game in the World Series, were not seen in major league markets. So if the Reds were on television, let's say in Dubuque on a Saturday, they weren't seen in New York. So Falstaff was a sponsor, and if you go look it up on YouTube, as someone drops a dumpster or something around me as the Reds should, and I'm fully dressed. There's actually an inning or two of the Reds and the Giants from Crossley Field with Dizzy calling play-by-play. But only a 15-minute thing. It's actually on videotape. I don't believe it's a kinescope. Anyway, here's Kurt. He's 0 for 2. O'Toole delivers, and he draws ball 4. So the Orioles start, or 1 out here in the 6th, have a walk for Brooks Robinson. He singled twice. And I got to remember, I'm the one that's managing the Reds. Zimmerman goes out to talk to O'Toole. And Robinson hits this one to Robinson and right. It's like a law firm. Robinson fly ball to right. Robinson's there. And there's 2 out. It's like the Saturday Night Live when George Steinbrenner played all 9 positions at the same time. Davey Johnson's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. That's a young picture of Davey. O'Toole's pitch, there goes Kurt. Throw down to second, and he is out trying to steal. That was on the computer, that wasn't me. 5.5 in the books. The 66 Orioles 3, the 61 Reds 1. $202 and climbing. Thank you so much. Too many Robinsons. And here's to you, Mrs. Robinson. There. And yeah, Seth, Ernie Banks would have been happy with a doubleheader. And if this channel was active when he passed, we would have done a doubleheader. O'Toole is 0 for 1. He struck out. As we start the 6th, bottom of the 6th, McNally delivers, struck him out. So McNally got him on a 2-2 pitch. 5 1/3 for Dave, 18 batters deep into his performance. 73 pitches, the lone Reds hit was the Coleman home run in the 5th. How about that? He hasn't walked anybody and struck out 5. Pinson's 0 for 2. Yeah, Yogi made it his own language, Seth. If you see a fork in the road, take it. Pinson, fly ball to center. Blair makes the catch, and there's 2 away. So McNally is cruising. Here's Wally Post. He's 0 for 2. He's one of those 5 strikeout victims. And Wally hits a ground ball to Aparicio. It's short over to Powell on a bang bang. Got him. And so the Reds go down in order again. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 6 on a 75-degree day in Cincinnati, it's the Orioles 3, the Reds 1. And so again, Davey Johnson, whose at bat was rudely interrupted on the caught stealing, is 0 for 2. O'Toole delivers, and there's a little looper in the left that's going to fall in front of post. And so that'll bring up Echeverry. And Andy's 0 for 2. He has struck out twice. McNally on deck. McNally has won the runs because he walked. Walked and scored in a 3-run shot by Blair. O'Toole delivers, and Echeverry laces this one in the left center for a base hit. Johnson goes to third. And so the Orioles have runners in the corners for McNally. So Freese and Coleman come in to play the bunt. But it's one of those situations where there just isn't a right answer of how to defend him. O'Toole delivers, and here's a bunt. Zimmerman, throw to Blasingame is in time. I think Johnson will hold at third. It's a sacrifice, not a squeeze, because Johnson held. Just in case you're ever wondering on that, and it goes on the sheet 2-4. If the pitcher bunts and the runner on third stays, it's a regular sacrifice. It's not a squeeze or a safety squeeze because Johnson held at third. And so that brings up Louis Aparicio. Through 27 batters, Jim O'Toole was thrown 6 in the 3rd innings. 7 hits, the home run, the lone blemish, and he's on deck. Walked 2 and struck out 4. Aparicio's 1 for 3, and the Orioles have runners on 2nd and 3rd. With 1 out here in the top of the 7th. Here's the pitch, and there's a ground ball up the middle. Johnson will score. Aparicio reaches Echeverry and will stay on 3rd. And we're looking down the bullpen now to see who can come in for O'Toole. Paul Blair, 1 for 3. That 3 came on a monster shot to left center. That Pinson just watched. 4-1 Orioles. O'Toole delivers, and there's a ground ball to Coleman. They're going to try for 2. They're going to go to Casco for 1. Back over to Coleman. Oh, no. The throw threw Coleman off the bag. Casco had a good strike, but he missed it wide. So Echeverry will score. There's 2 out, 5-1 Baltimore. And no error charged on the play. It's a fielder's choice. Score at 3-6. So Blair's on first for Robinson, and Frank is 0 for 3 with a strikeout. O'Toole delivers, and he got Robinson to swing and miss on a 2-2. So the Orioles add to the lead. 2 runs this time on 3 hits and no errors. Stretch time in Crossley, 6.5 in the books. 5-1 Baltimore. And if the Reds are going to make some hay in this game, Frank Robinson needs to do something. He's 0 for 2. McNally has allowed 1 hit. A solo shot by Coleman in the 5th. Here's the pitch. There's a base hit right center field. Robinson will hold it first, and again there's a standing ovation. Both benches stand and applaud. 203. Yogi looks like a yogi. And thanks to everyone who has subscribed. I'm honored, but this game's about Frank. There's Gene Freese, 0 for 2 with a strikeout. McNally delivers, and Freese hits a pop-up right side. Powell will call for it, and there's 1 out. Here's Gordy Coleman. Robinson on first. Coleman hit the solo shot in the 5th. And he strikes out this time. McNally got even. A 1-2 fastball that caught the inside corner. And that's 6 for Dave. 2 out here in the 7th. Before it gets lost in all this, You know, the 61, I mean, both of these teams are World Series teams. Both of these teams won their respective pennants, and I think Baltimore won theirs surprisingly easy. I can't remember about the Reds. That was 10 years before I was born. Casco, by the way, is 0 for 2. No one expected the Reds to win that World Series outside of Cincinnati. I mean, they were going against the mighty New York Yankees, and that was the year that Maris and the M&M boys, Maris hit 61 and Mantle hit 54. If the Reds had won that World Series, and they did take a game, by the way, it would have been considered one of the more monumental upsets of all time. What the Orioles pulled off was one of the most monumental upsets of all time. The Dodgers had won the World Series in '65. You got Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale in that rotation. And the Orioles went in and swept them. But because the Mets won in '69, and what the Tigers did against the Cardinals in '68, that upset, the Orioles upset, just never got the due that it should have. I'm not sure how many games the Dodgers won, but the Orioles just went in and spanked them. And there was just no question about it. So, anyway, here's Casco. He's 0 for 2. McNally delivers, and there's a ground ball to Aparicio. The Johnson for 1, and that will do it. They retire the side. No runs, no hits, 1 hit, no errors. After 7, Baltimore 5, Cincinnati 1. O'Toole's last inning, I would think. Powell is 0 for 3. I'm not sure if Robinson probably will bat once more for the Reds. He could bat once more for Baltimore. Powell's 0 for 3. And Powell grounds this one right side, base hit. Robinson picked it up. And here's Kurt. 0 for 2, a walk in the caught ceiling. O'Toole's ready. Here's the pitch. Fly ball right center. Hinson comes in and makes the catch. Powell goes back to first. So here's Brooks Robinson. Brooks is 2 for 3. Single twice. And Brooks hits this one in the left. Post in the corner. He's got it. What a catch by Wally Post. And Powell retreats back to first. So 2 out for Davy Johnson, who's 1 for 3. Struck out and scored a run. So what I was going to do tonight, I'm not going to do. We'll figure out another time to pepper Uncle Ron with some questions. But it won't be tonight. Well, I hope you're still with me here. The stream is continuing. I'm on the hard wire. I hope that you're still with me here. Someone let me know. Did you see the Johnson double? Just someone in the chat say they can hear me. And what was the last thing that you saw? I don't know why it's cutting out. So Andy Etchebarren waits. He's 1 for 3. He has struck out twice and scored. And I guess we're going to resume. Someone want to tell me that you can see this? Well, it's telling me I'm seeing it live. No? Okay. So, part 2. Alright, no, it's me. I've had a couple troubles in this one. So, O'Toole delivers to Etchebarren. There's a ground ball. Casco with a diving stop. Throws to Coleman to cut the damage off right there. No runs, 2 hits, no errors. Woody Held will come in and play left for the Orioles. Dave McNally is working on a 2-hitter. We go to the 8th. It is 5-1, bottom of the 8th. It's 5-1 Baltimore. Now, lost a bunch of people, and I'm not surprised about that. So, blasting game, Zimmerman and O'Toole. Well, I'll be a pinch hitter. 5-1, bottom of the 8th for Baltimore. Ahead. Blasting game is 0 for 2. McNally just cruising right along. And the pitch. There's a base hit left side. Hill will pick it up on a hop. And the Reds have their 3rd hit of the ball game. Gary Zimmerman is 0 for 2. McNally delivers. And there's a ground ball to Robinson. Over it across to first on a bang banger. And they got him. Nice throw by Robinson. Yeah, people will come back. So O'Toole is going to come out. Let's see, left-handed hitter. We're going to bat Jerry Lynch, I believe. No. Yeah. Jerry Lynch in limited duty hit .353 against Wesley. He's .315 on the year, 13 homers and 50 RBI. No, it wasn't you, Chris. It was my connection cut out. For whatever reason. So if you're just rejoining us, a stunning play by Eddie Casco and a quick throw from his knees ended the inning before Baltimore could score. And so 5 runs, 10 hits, an error for Baltimore. They've stranded 6. 1 run, 3 hits, and no errors for the Reds. They've left 2 on. Blassingame just hit a double, and there's 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. That should catch you up. Jerry Lynch in the pinch hit, and there's a fly ball in the left center that's going to drop for a base hit. Blassingame will hold, and the Reds have finally got McNally's number here in the 8th. So through 27 batters, McNally 7 1/3 innings, 4 hits, a home run, no walks, 6 strikeouts, but he's in trouble here in the 8th. Lynch on first, Blassingame on third for Veda Pinson, who is 0 for 3. McNally delivers, ground ball to Johnson. Blassingame will try to score, throw to Aparicio for 1, over to Powell, and Baltimore can't turn it. So it's 2 out and 5-2 for Wally Post. So the Reds making a game of it. For the Oriole 9th, if anyone should reach, Robinson will hit again. And with Post at the plate, Robinson's on deck. So he will get 1 more at bat for both teams. Wally's 0 for 3 with a strikeout. And there's a fly ball to left. Held, Woody Held's there, and he makes the catch to retire the side. Pitching change coming here in Cincinnati. We go to the top of the 9th. Baltimore 5, Cincinnati 2. And so we bring in the ace of the Red staff, Joey J, who I thought the computer would go with, to face Baltimore here in the 9th inning. Joey went 21-10 on the real year, a 3.53 ERA, 247 in the 3rd innings, 217 hits, 25 home runs. He walked 92 and struck out 157. And if any Orioles should reach, Frank Robinson will get 1 more at bat with the Orioles. But as my dear friend Chris says, on the tabletop, everyone lives forever. And so Frank Robinson will be getting at-bats as long as we care about baseball. They'll just be taking them from another park. McNally has walked and doubled. He's had a heck of a ball game. Joey J's pitch to him is strike 3. 0-2 pitch on the inside corner. Joey originally pitched for the Braves, and then came over to the Reds and was a big part of why the Reds won it, the National League in '61. Louis Aparicio, 2 for 4, single twice, driven in a run and scored. And there's a ground ball right back to Jay, over to Coleman. And now we're going to cheat. They walk Paul Blair to give Frank Robinson 1 more at-bat. Frank is 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. 5-2 Baltimore. Let's see what happens. Here's the pitch. Gets away from Zimmerman, and Blair moves to second. So Robinson, again, he's just a very humble guy, and this has not been a very humble broadcast. Pitch to Jay. From Jay, got him, he struck out. So they gave him the 1 extra at-bat, and he takes the full count pitch. He strikes out 3 times for the Orioles. We go to the bottom of the 9th. It's Baltimore 5, Cincinnati 2. And look again, it's Frank Robinson. And this time, it's just ringing down from the rafters. McNally just steps off the mound. I do too, Robbie, but, you know, baseball's never going to die. As long as we play sports in this country, we will play baseball. So Robinson for the Reds is 1 for 3. McNally delivers, and it's a walk. So the Reds have the runner on, and Stu Miller's coming in for Dave McNally. McNally tips his hat to Robinson as he leaves the mound. And Stu Miller comes in, 9-4 with 18 saves. It's a logical move for the Orioles. 92 innings, 65 hits. Remember, this is a fireman, not necessarily a closer. 5 home runs, 22 walks, and 67 strikeouts. Those saves were retroactively added. So Miller's there, Robinson on first. Gene Freese is 0 for 3 with the strikeout. Here's the pitch, fly ball to right. Robinson goes back and makes the catch. And Robinson looks Robinson back to first. And there's one out for Gordy Coleman. The solo shot in the 5th was the first hit of the ball game for the Reds. He struck out twice. He's at 1 for 3. Miller delivers, got him. An 0-2 pitch was swung on and missed. So Eddie Casco was the last chance here for the Reds. Everybody standing up. 5-2 Baltimore. And a thank you for all those who stuck around for this stream. I know it's long, but I think it was worth it to honor him both as a manager and as a player. So Miller is ready. Casco waves the bat back and forth. Fly ball, how appropriate is this? Robinson's there and makes the catch. And so the Orioles beat the Reds 5-2. I don't think anybody really cares about box scores and stuff. I mean, the first game of our doubleheader ended as a tie. If you're wondering, Robinson struck out 3 times for the Orioles, but went 1 for 3 with a walk for the Reds. So I hope in this kind of small way, just as Al did last night when he played the 66 Orioles against the 86 Mets, Davey Johnson's team, it makes a lot of sense. And Chris last night, not a live stream, but I think he used Strat for his 61 Reds and 66 Orioles. To Robinson is just such a giant. I mean, there's a handful of players from that era still with us that meant something, and Robinson's contributions to the game go well beyond what he did as a player, what he meant as a leader, what he meant in the dugout, what he meant for lots of teams. I mean, it was brought up that Frank Robinson turned an Orioles team that dropped their first 21 in 88, and they almost won the American League East in 1989. Won the Manager of the Year. So at 83, bone cancer, just a terrible way to go. We salute you, Frank Robinson, and thank you very much for all the memories and the tremendous legacy that you leave baseball. We'll play some basketball for you tomorrow and come up with something to celebrate this channel's milestones. But today it's all about Frank Robinson. I'm Ron Juckett for Retro Sports Network. We'll talk to you the next time.